Jack Morrison woke up at 5 in the morning, just like he had every day for the past 30 years. The alarm clock beside his bed made its loud ringing sound, but Jack was already awake. He always woke up before the alarm. His body knew it was time to get up even when his mind wanted to stay in bed. He sat on the edge of his bed and looked around the empty room. The other side of the bed was cold and had been cold for 3 years now. Sarah used to sleep there. She used to wake up with him and make coffee while he got dressed. But Sarah was gone now, and Jack lived alone on the ranch. Jack put on his old jeans and a blue work shirt. The shirt had small holes in it, but it was comfortable. He did not care much about how he looked anymore. There was nobody to look good. For he walked to the kitchen and made coffee in the same old pot he had used for years. The coffee was strong and black, just how he liked it. While the coffee was brewing, Jack looked out the window at his land. His ranch was not very big, but it was his. He had worked hard for 25 years to pay for it. The grass was brown because it had not rained much this summer. His few cows were eating the dry grass near the fence. Jack counted them like he did every morning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All 5 cows were there, but 5 cows were not enough. Jack needed more cows to make money. The ranch was not making enough money to pay all the bills. The feed for the animals cost a lot. The truck needed new tires. The roof of the barn had a hole in it that needed to be fixed. Jack had been thinking about buying another cow for weeks now. Jack drank his coffee and ate 2 pieces of toast with butter. He did not cook much anymore. Sarah used to make big breakfasts with eggs and bacon and pancakes. Jack missed those breakfasts. He missed a lot of things about Sarah, but thinking about her made his chest hurt, so he tried not to think about her too much. After breakfast, Jack went outside to feed the animals. The morning air was cool, but he knew it would be hot later. The sun was just starting to come up over the hills. Jack liked this time of day. Everything was quiet except for the sounds of the animals. The cows made low mooing sounds when they saw him coming with their food. The chickens ran around his feet, hoping for grain. Jack had called Tom Henderson yesterday about buying a cow. Tom lived about 20 miles away on a bigger farm. Tom raised dairy cows and sometimes sold them to other farmers. Jack had heard that Tom had good cows that gave a lot of milk. A good milk cow could help Jack make more money. Jack had known Tom for many years, but they were not close friends. They saw each other at the feed store sometimes and talked about the weather or the price of hay. Tom was about the same age as Jack, maybe a little older. Jack remembered that Tom had a daughter, but she had moved away years ago. Tom lived with his wife on their farm, and Jack thought they were probably lonely too. After feeding the animals, Jack went back inside and called Tom. The phone rang 3 times before Tom answered. "Hello," Tom said. His voice sounded tired. "Tom, this is Jack Morrison. I called yesterday about the cow," Jack said. "Oh, yes, Jack. You want to come look at her today?" "Yes, if that is okay with you." "That is fine. Come around 10 o'clock. The cow is in the front pasture. You can see her easy." "I will be there at 10. Thank you, Tom." Jack hung up the phone and looked at the clock. It was 7:30. He had time to do some work around the ranch before he left. Jack went to the barn and fixed a loose board on one of the stalls. He checked the water troughs to make sure they were full. He picked up some tools that were lying on the ground and put them away. At 9:30, Jack got in his truck and drove to Tom Henderson's farm. The truck was old and made loud noises, but it still ran good. Jack drove down the dirt road that led away from his ranch. He passed other farms and fields of corn and soybeans. Some of the farms looked good with fresh paint on the barns and green grass in the pastures. Other farms looked old and tired, like they were having hard times. Jack thought about money while he drove. He had enough money saved to buy 1 cow, but not much more than that. If the cow got sick or died, Jack would lose all his money. But if he did not buy more cows, the ranch would never make enough money. It was a hard choice, but Jack had decided to take the chance. Tom Henderson's farm was at the end of a long gravel driveway. Jack could see the house and barn from the road. The farm looked like it needed work. The paint on the barn was old and peeling. Some of the fence posts were leaning. Over the grass in the yard was long and needed to be cut. Jack wondered if Tom was having money problems too. Jack parked his truck near the barn and got out. Tom came walking from the house. Tom was a tall, thin man with gray hair and a gray beard. He wore old clothes and dirty boots. He looked tired, like he had not been sleeping well. "Hello, Jack," Tom said. They shook hands. "Hello, Tom. How are you doing?" "Oh, you know how it is. Getting by?" Tom said. "The cow is over here in this pasture. She is a good cow. 3 years old and gives a lot of milk." Jack and Tom walked to the fence and looked at the cow. She was a black and white Holstein, the kind that gives the most milk. She looked healthy and strong. Jack had brought cows before, so he knew what to look for. This cow looked like a good one. "What are you asking for her?" Jack said. $1,500, Tom said. Jack thought. "I'll got the price." It was fair for a good cow like this one. He had brought exactly $1,500 with him in cash. But giving away all that money still made him nervous. "Can I look at her closer?" Jack asked. "Sure," Tom said. "Let me get her into the pen so you can see her better." Tom went to get the cow while Jack waited by the fence. Jack looked around the farm while he waited. He noticed that the farm was very quiet. Most farms had dogs that barked when strangers came, but Jack did not see any dogs. He did not see Tom's wife either. The place felt empty and sad, just like Jack's own ranch. Tom walked into the pasture to get the cow. Jack watched him move slowly across the grass. Tom looked like he was in pain when he walked. Maybe his back hurt or his knees were bad. Jack knew how that felt. His own body hurt more each year from all the hard work on the ranch. The cow did not want to come at first. Tom had to walk around behind her and wave his arms to make her move toward the pen. The cow finally walked into the small pen next to the barn. Jack could see her much better now. Jack climbed over the fence to look at the cow up close. He checked her legs to make sure they were strong. He looked at her eyes to see if they were bright and healthy. He felt her stomach to see if she might be pregnant. The cow stood still and let Jack look at her. She seemed calm and gentle. "She looks good," Jack said to Tom. "Has she been giving milk?" "Yes, about 4 gallons a day," Tom said. "That is good for a cow her age. Any problems with her? Any sickness?" "No, she has been healthy. The vet checked her last month." "She is good to have babies too," Jack nodded. This cow would be good for his ranch. She could give milk that he could sell, and she could have baby cows that he could raise and sell later. It was a good deal. Even though $1,500 was a lot of money for him, while Jack was looking at the cow, he heard a door close. He looked toward the house and saw a small person sitting on the front porch steps. At first, Jack thought it might be Tom's wife, but then he saw it was a child. A little girl. The girl was very small, maybe 6 or 7 years old. She had long blonde hair that looked like it had not been brushed in a while. She wore a pink shirt and blue jeans that were too big for her. Her shoes were old and dirty. She sat on the steps with her hands in her lap, just watching Jack and Tom. Jack had not seen any children at Tom's farm before. He did not even know Tom had grandchildren. The little girl sat very still and quiet. Most children would be running around and asking questions, but this girl just sat and watched. "Who is that?" Jack asked Tom quietly. Tom looked toward the house and saw the girl. His face changed. He looked sad and worried. "That is my granddaughter Emma," Tom said. "She is staying with us for a while." Tom did not say anything else about the girl. He looked like he did not want to talk about her. Jack could tell there was something wrong, but he did not ask more questions. People in the country did not ask too many questions about family business. Jack finished looking at the cow. She really was a good cow. Jack decided he would buy her. "I will take her," Jack said. $1,500 cash. "Good," Tom said. "Let me get the papers from the house." Tom walked toward the house to get the papers that showed he owned the cow. Jack stayed by the pen with the cow. He looked at the little girl on the porch again. She was still sitting in the same place, still very quiet. The girl looked back at Jack. Her eyes were big and blue, but they looked sad. Jack had seen that same look in his own eyes when he looked in the mirror. It was the look of someone who had lost something important. Jack felt sorry for the little girl. He did not know why she was staying with Tom and his wife, but something was not right. Maybe her parents were having problems. Maybe they could not take care of her right now. Jack remembered being a child and having to stay with his grandmother. When his own parents were having hard times, Tom came back from the house with some papers. He also brought a pen to sign the papers with. Jack got the money out of his wallet. $1,500 in cash was a lot of money to carry around, but Jack did not trust banks very much. He liked to pay for things with cash when he could. While Tom was writing on the papers, Jack looked at the little girl again. This time, she got up from the steps and walked a little closer to them. She stayed near the house, but she was close enough that Jack could see her better. The girl looked like she had been crying. Her eyes were red and her face was pale. She looked scared and confused. Jack wanted to say something to her, but he did not know what to say. He was not good with children. He and Sarah had never had children of their own, even though they had wanted them. "Emma," Tom called to the girl. "Come here and meet Mr. Morrison." The girl walked slowly toward them. She kept her head down and did not look at Jack. When she got close, Tom put his hand on her shoulder. "Emma, this is Mr. Morrison. He is buying one of our cows." Tom said. Jack bent down a little so he was closer to the girl's height. He tried to smile at her. "Hello, Emma," Jack said in a quiet voice. "It is nice to meet you." Emma looked up at Jack for just a second, then looked down at the ground again. "Hello," she said in a very small voice. Jack could tell the girl was very shy and probably scared. He did not want to make her more scared, so he did not try to talk to her more. But something about her made him feel sad. She looked so small and lost. Tom finished writing the papers and gave them to Jack to sign. Jack signed his name and gave Tom the money. Tom counted the money and put it in his pocket. "You can come get the cow tomorrow if you want," Tom said. "I will put her in the pen tonight so she will be easy to load." "That sounds good," Jack said. "I will bring my trailer in the morning." Jack started to walk back to his truck. He looked at Emma one more time. She was still standing next to Tom, but she was looking at Jack now. Her big blue eyes followed him as he walked away. Something about those eyes made Jack stop walking. The girl looked like she wanted to say something to him, but she was too scared or too shy. Jack had seen that look before in herd animals. They wanted help, but they did not know how to ask for it. Jack walked back toward Emma and Tom. He knelt down so he was at Emma's eye level. "Emma," Jack said softly, "do you like cows?" Emma nodded her head just a little. "This cow I'm buying is going to live on my ranch," Jack said. "She will have lots of grass to eat and other cows to be friends with. Would you like to see her sometime?" Emma looked at Tom, then back at Jack. She nodded again, but she still did not say anything. "Maybe your grandfather can bring you to visit sometime," Jack said. Tom looked uncomfortable. "We will see," he said. "Emma has a lot going on right now." Jack could tell that Tom did not want to talk about Emma's visit. There was definitely something wrong in this family, but Jack did not know what it was. He stood up and said goodbye to Tom and Emma. As Jack drove away from the farm, he kept thinking about the little girl. There was something about her that reminded him of himself after Sarah died. She looked lost and alone, even though she was with her grandparents. Jack wondered what had happened to make such a young child look so sad. Jack drove home slowly, thinking about Emma and about the cow he had just bought. He hoped the cow would help his ranch make more money, but he also hoped that somehow he would see Emma again. Something told him that the little girl needed a friend, and Jack knew what it felt like to need a friend. Jack could not stop thinking about Emma on his drive home. The little girl's sad eyes stayed in his mind. He had seen many hurt and scared animals in his life, and Emma had that same look. Something was very wrong in her world, but Jack did not know what it was. When Jack got back to his ranch, he did his evening chores. He fed the cows and chickens and checked the water. But his mind kept going back to Tom Henderson's farm and the quiet little girl sitting on the porch steps. That night, Jack had trouble sleeping. He kept thinking about Emma and wondering why she looked so sad. He also thought about the cow he was going to pick up in the morning. The cow was important for his ranch. But somehow the little girl seemed more important now. Jack woke up early the next morning, just like always. He drank his coffee and ate his toast. Then he hooked his cattle trailer to his truck and drove back to Tom Henderson's farm. The morning was cool and foggy. Jack hoped the weather would stay cool while he loaded the cow. When Jack got to the farm, Tom was waiting for him by the barn. The cow was in the small pen, just like Tom had promised. Tom looked tired, like he had not slept much either. "Good morning, Tom," Jack said. "Morning, Jack. The cow is ready to go. She has been calm all night." Jack backed his trailer up to the pen. Tom opened the gate and tried to get the cow to walk into the trailer, but the cow did not want to go. She stood at the back of the pen and would not move. "She is nervous about the trailer," Tom said. "Sometimes cows do not like new places." Jack had moved cows before. He knew they could be scared of trailers. He got a bucket of grain to try to get the cow to come into the trailer. The cow smelled the grain, but still would not walk up the ramp while Jack and Tom were working with the cow. Jack heard the front door of the house open. He looked over and saw Emma come outside. She was wearing the same clothes as yesterday, but her hair was brushed now. She walked to the porch steps and sat down to watch them. Jack waved at Emma, and she waved back with a small hand. She looked a little less scared today, but still very sad. After 20 minutes, Jack and Tom finally got the cow into the trailer. The cow was not happy about it, but she was inside and the gate was closed. Jack was hot and sweaty from the work. "That was harder than I thought it would be," Jack said. "Yes, she is usually not that difficult," Tom said. "Maybe she knows she is leaving." Jack walked over to his truck to get ready to leave. As he was checking the trailer hitch, he heard small footsteps behind him. He turned around and saw Emma walking toward him. She looked around to make sure Tom was not watching. Then she came closer to Jack. Emma stopped right next to Jack's truck. She looked up at him with her big blue eyes. Jack could see that she wanted to say something, but she seemed scared. "What is it, Emma?" Jack asked quietly. Emma looked around again to make sure Tom could not hear her. Then she moved even closer to Jack and stood on her tiptoes. Jack bent down so she could reach his ear. "Mister," Emma whispered so quietly that Jack could barely hear her, "today is my mommy's last day alive." Jack felt like someone had hit him in the stomach. He was not sure he had heard Emma correctly. He looked at her face and saw tears starting to form in her eyes. "What did you say, honey?" Jack asked, kneeling down so he was at her level. Emma looked around again to make sure no one was listening. Then she whispered again, even more quietly than before. "The doctor said my mommy is not going to wake up anymore. Today they are going to let her go to heaven." Jack felt his heart breaking. This little girl was telling him that her mother was dying today. That is why she looked so sad and scared. That is why she was staying with her grandparents. "Oh, Emma," Jack said softly. "I am so sorry." Emma started to cry, but she tried to be quiet about it. She did not want Tom to see her crying. Jack wanted to hug her, but he did not know if that would be okay. He was just a stranger to her. "Where is your mommy now?" Jack asked. "She is in the hospital," Emma said through her tears. "She was in a car accident. Her head got hurt really bad. The machines are helping her breathe, but the doctors said her brain is not working anymore." Jack felt tears in his own eyes. This poor little girl was going through something that no child should have to go through. Her mother was dying and she was too young to really understand what that meant. "Are you going to see your mommy today?" Jack asked. Emma nodded. "Grandpa Tom is going to take me to the hospital this afternoon. I get to say goodbye to her." Jack's heart was breaking for this little girl. He remembered when Sarah was dying in the hospital. It was the hardest thing Jack had ever been through, and he was a grown man. He could not imagine how scary it must be for a 7-year-old child. "Emma, do you have other family? What about your daddy?" Jack asked gently. Emma's face got even sadder. "My daddy left when I was little. I do not remember him very much. It was just me and Mommy. Now Mommy is going away too." Jack felt anger at the father who had left this little girl and her mother. But mostly he felt sad for Emma. She was about to lose the only parent she had ever really known. "What will happen to you after today?" Jack asked. I do not know, Emma said. Grandpa Tom and Grandma Helen are very sad about Mommy. They cry a lot. I think they are too sad to take care of me. I heard them talking about sending me somewhere else to live. Jack's heart hurt even more. Not only was Emma losing her mother, but she might also lose her home with her grandparents. She might end up in foster care with strangers. Tom started, walking toward them from the barn. Emma quickly wiped her tears and stepped away from Jack. Do not tell Grandpa Tom that I told you, Emma whispered. He does not like me to talk about Mommy being sick. I will not tell him, Jack promised. Tom reached them and looked at Emma with tired eyes. Emma, you should go inside and help Grandma Helen, Tom said. Okay, Grandpa Tom, Emma said. She looked at Jack one more time, then walked back to the house. Jack watched her go, feeling helpless. He wanted to do something to help this little girl, but he did not know what he could do. He was just a stranger who had come to buy a cow. Tom, Jack said carefully, Emma seems like a sweet little girl. Tom's face got hard. Yes, she is. But she is going through a hard time right now. Is there anything I can do to help? Jack asked. Tom looked at Jack for a long moment. No, Jack, this is family business. We will figure it out. Jack could tell that Tom did not want to talk about Emma, her mother. Tom was probably dealing with his own grief about losing his daughter. Jack understood that. When Sarah was sick, Jack had not wanted to talk to anyone about it either. I understand, Jack said. But if you ever need anything, you can call me. Thank you, Tom said. But Jack could tell he was just being polite. Jack got in his truck and started the engine. As he drove away with the cow in his trailer, he kept thinking about Emma's words. Today is my mommy's last day alive. How could such a little girl have to face something so terrible? Jack drove slowly back to his ranch, but his mind was not on the cow anymore. All he could think about was Emma and how scared and alone she must feel. Jack knew what it was like to lose someone you loved more than anything, but at least he had been an adult when Sarah died. Emma was just a child. By the time Jack got home and unloaded the cow into his pasture, he had made a decision. He did not know how, but he was going to find a way to help Emma. No child should have to go through what she was going through all alone. Jack could not concentrate on his ranch work for the rest of the day. Every time he tried to focus on feeding the animals or fixing a fence, his mind went back to Emma and her whispered words. Today is my mommy's last day alive. The words echoed in his head over and over. The new cow seemed to be doing well in the pasture with his other cows. She was eating grass and drinking water, but Jack barely noticed. All he could think about was the little girl who was about to lose her mother. That evening, Jack sat on his porch and watched the sun go down. He wondered if Emma was at the hospital right now, saying goodbye to her mother. He wondered how a 7-year-old could possibly understand what was happening to her. When Jack's own mother had died 10 years ago, he had been a grown man, and it was still the hardest thing he had ever been through. Except for losing Sarah. Jack thought about calling Tom Henderson to ask how things were going, but he knew Tom would not want to talk about it. Tom had made it clear that this was family business, but Jack could not stop caring about Emma. Something about that little girl had touched his heart in a way he had not felt since Sarah died. The next morning, Jack woke up thinking about Emma again. He wondered if her mother had died during the night. He wondered if Emma was okay. Jack tried to do his morning chores, but he kept making mistakes. He gave the chickens cow food instead of chicken food. He forgot to turn off the water hose and flooded the area around the water trough. Around 10 o'clock in the morning, Jack could not stand it anymore. He got in his truck and drove to the feed store in town. The feed store was where all the farmers came to buy supplies for their animals. It was also where people talked about what was happening in the county. If anyone knew about Tom Henderson's family situation, someone at the feed store would know. The feed store was busy when Jack got there. Several farmers were loading bags of grain into their trucks. Jack went inside and found Bob Miller, who owned the store. Bob had lived in the county his whole life and knew everyone. "Good morning, Jack," Bob said. "What can I do for you today?" "I need a bag of grain for the new cow I bought," Jack said. I got her from Tom Henderson yesterday. Oh, Tom Henderson, Bob said, shaking his head. That poor family is going through hell right now. Jack tried to act like he did not know what Bob was talking about. What do you mean? You have not heard about his daughter Lisa? Bob asked. No, what happened? Bob looked around to make sure no other customers could hear him. Then he leaned closer to Jack. Lisa was in a terrible car accident about 2 weeks ago, Bob said quietly. She was driving home from work late at night when a drunk driver hit her head-on. The drunk driver was not hurt much, but Lisa's head was badly injured. Jack felt sick to his stomach. He had guessed that Emma's mother was sick, but hearing the details made it even worse. Is she going to be okay? Jack asked, even though he already knew the answer. No, Bob said sadly. She has been on life support for 2 weeks, but the doctors said there is no brain activity. The family decided yesterday to let her go. I heard she passed away last night around midnight. Jack's heart broke for Emma. While he was sitting on his porch last night, that little girl was watching her mother die. What about her little girl? Jack asked. I think I saw a child at Tom's farm. Yes, that is Emma. She is 7 years old. Sweet little thing, but she has had a hard life. Lisa was a single mother. The father took off when Emma was just a baby. Lisa worked 2 jobs to support Emma and did not have much money. What will happen to Emma now? Jack asked. Bob shook his head again. I do not know. Tom and Helen Henderson are good people, but they are both over 70 years old. Tom has a bad back and Helen has heart problems. They are also dealing with their own grief over losing Lisa. I heard they might have to put Emma in foster care. Jack felt angry and sad at the same time. Emma had already lost her father and her mother. Now she might lose her grandparents too and be sent to live with strangers. That is terrible, Jack said. Is there not any other family? Not that I know. Oh, Bob said. Lisa's mother died when Lisa was young, and Tom does not have any other children. The drunk driver who hit Lisa had been arrested before for drunk driving, but they kept letting him go. Now a little girl has no mother because of it? Jack bought his bag of grain and left the feed store, but his mind was spinning. Emma's situation was even worse than he had thought. She was truly alone in the world except for her elderly grandparents who might not be able to take care of her. Jack drove back to his ranch, but instead of unloading the grain, he sat in his truck and thought. He thought about Emma's sad blue eyes and her quiet voice. He thought about how scared she must be. He thought about how Sarah had always wanted children and how they had tried for years to have a baby, Jack, and Sarah had even talked about adopting a child, but Sarah got sick before they could do it. Sarah would have loved Emma. She would have wanted Jack to help this little girl. That afternoon, Jack did something he had not done in 3 years. He put on his best shirt and drove to Tom Henderson's farm. He did not call first because he was afraid Tom would tell him not to come. When Jack got to the farm, he saw several cars parked in the driveway. Tom's house had people coming and going. Jack realized that people were probably bringing food and offering help after Lisa's death. That is what people did in small farming communities when someone died. Jack knocked on the front door. Tom answered the door, and Jack could see that Tom had been crying. Tom looked older than he had just 2 days ago. Hello, Jack, Tom said. This is not a good time. I know, Tom. I heard about Lisa. I am very sorry for your loss. Tom nodded. Thank you. The funeral is tomorrow. I wanted to ask about Emma. Jack said, How is she doing? Tom's face got hard again. She is doing as well as can be expected. She is upstairs in her room. Tom, I know this is not my business, but I care about what happens to Emma. If there is anything I can do to help, please let me know. Tom looked at Jack for a long moment. Then he stepped outside and closed the door behind him. Jack, I appreciate your concern, but Emma is not your responsibility. Helen and I will figure out what to do. What are your options? Jack asked. Tom sighed and looked very tired. We want to keep Emma with us, but we are too old and too sick to raise a 7-year-old. Helen's heart is getting worse, and my back is so bad I can barely walk some days. We do not have the energy to chase after a little girl. What about foster care? The social worker came to see us yesterday. She said they would try to find a good family for Emma, but there are not many foster families in this county. Emma might have to go live in the city with strangers. She might even be separated from us completely. Jack felt his heart breaking for Emma again. This little girl was about to lose everything she had ever known. Tom, Jack said carefully, what if there was another option? Tom looked at Jack with curiosity. What do you mean? Jack took a deep breath. He was about to say something that would change his life forever. What if Emma could come stay with me for a while? Just until you and Helen feel better and can take care of her. Tom stared at Jack like he could not believe what he had just heard. Jack, you do not know what you are saying. Taking care of a child is a big responsibility. You live alone on that ranch. I know it would be hard, Jack said, but I have a big house and plenty of land. Emma could have her own room. She could visit you and Helen whenever she wanted, and when you feel ready, she could come back to live with you. Tom shook his head. Jack, you are a single man with no experience with children. The state would never allow it. Maybe not permanently, Jack said. But what if you and Helen kept legal custody of Emma, and I just helped take care of her? Like a babysitter or a helper? Tom thought about this for a moment. Jack could see him considering the idea. Why would you want to do this, Jack? You barely know Emma. Jack thought about how to answer this question. How could he explain that Emma's sad eyes reminded him of his own loneliness? How could he tell Tom that helping Emma might help heal his own broken heart? I do not know, Jack said honestly. But when I saw Emma yesterday, something inside me wanted to protect her. She reminds me of myself after Sarah died. I know what it feels like to be alone and scared. Tom looked at Jack for a long time. Then he said something that surprised Jack. Let me talk to Helen about it. And maybe you should meet Emma properly before we make any decisions. Tom looked at Jack for what felt like a very long time. Jack could see Tom thinking about what he had just offered. Jack was thinking about it too? He had just offered to help take care of a child he barely knew. It was probably the craziest thing he had ever done. You really want to help Emma? Tom asked. Yes, I do, Jack said. I cannot explain why, but I feel like I need to help her. Tom nodded slowly. Let me go get Helen. We should all talk about this together, and Emma should meet you properly. Tom went back into the house and came back a few minutes later with his wife Helen. Jack had seen Helen a few times over the years, but they had never really talked. Helen was a small woman with gray hair and kind eyes, but today her eyes were red from crying. Hello, Jack, Helen said in a quiet voice. Tom told me what you offered. That is very kind of you. I just want to help, Jack said. I know this is a hard time for your family. Helen looked at Tom, then back at Jack. Tom said you want to meet Emma properly. She is upstairs in her room. She has been very quiet since yesterday. Would it be okay if I talk to her? Jack asked. Yes, Helen said, but please be gentle with her. She does not understand everything that is happening. Tom and Helen led Jack into the house. The house was old but clean and comfortable. There were flowers on the kitchen table and pictures of the family on the walls. Jack could see a picture of a young woman who must have been Lisa. She looked like Emma, with the same blonde hair and blue eyes. Emma! Helen called up the stairs. Can you come down here, please? Someone wants to meet you. Jack heard small footsteps on the stairs. Emma came down slowly, holding on to the railing. She was wearing a black dress that was too big for her. Jack realized it was probably the dress she had worn to her mother's funeral. When Emma saw Jack, she stopped on the bottom step. She remembered him from the farm, but she looked confused about why he was in her grandparents' house. Emma, this is Mr. Morrison, Helen said. He is the man who bought Grandpa Tom's cow. He wanted to come see how you are doing. Emma looked at Jack with her big blue eyes. Jack could see that she had been crying a lot. Her face was pale and thin, like she had not been eating much. Hello, Emma, Jack said softly. I was sorry to hear about your mother. Emma did not say anything, but she nodded a little bit. Would you like to sit with me on the porch for a few minutes? Jack asked. We could talk about the cow I bought from your grandfather. Emma looked at Tom and Helen. Helen nodded and smiled. That would be nice, Emma, Helen said. You have been inside all day. Emma walked slowly to the front door. Jack followed her outside to the porch. They sat down on the porch steps, the same place where Jack had first seen Emma 2 days ago. For a few minutes they just sat quietly. Jack did not want to push Emma to talk if she did not want to. He knew that sometimes when people are very sad, they just need someone to sit with them. Finally, Emma spoke in a very quiet voice. My mommy died yesterday night, she said. I know, Jack said gently. I am very sorry. That must be very hard for you. I do not understand why she had to die, Emma said. The doctors said her brain stopped working, but I do not know what that means. Jack thought about how to explain death to a 7-year-old. It was something he had never had to do before. Sometimes when people get hurt very badly, their bodies cannot work anymore, Jack said. Your mommy's body was hurt so badly that it could not keep working, even with the machines to help her. But why did the bad man hit her car? Emma asked. Mommy was a good driver. She always told me to wear my seatbelt and look both ways. Jack felt angry again at the drunk driver who had caused this accident, but he did not want Emma to see his anger. Sometimes bad things happen to good people, Jack said. It is not fair, and it does not make sense. But it is not your mommy's fault, and it is not your fault either. Emma started to cry again. I miss her so much. She used to read me stories every night before bed. She used to make me pancakes with smiley faces on them. Who is going to do those things now? Jack's heart was breaking for this little girl. He wanted to tell her that everything would be okay, but he knew that would not be true. Her life had changed forever, and nothing would ever be the same. I do not know who will do those things, Jack said honestly. But I know that your mommy loved you very much, and she would want you to be happy. Grandpa Tom and Grandma Helen are very sad, Emma said. They cry all the time. I think taking care of me makes them more sad because I remind them of Mommy. Jack was surprised that Emma understood this. She was very smart for a 7-year-old. Your grandparents love you, Jack said. But you are right that they are very sad. When people are that sad, it is hard for them to take care of other people. I heard them talking to a lady yesterday, Emma said. The lady said I might have to go live with a different family. I do not want to live with strangers. Jack took a deep breath. This was his chance to tell Emma about his idea. Emma, what if you did not have to live with strangers? Jack asked. What if you could live with someone you know? Emma looked at Jack with curiosity. What do you mean? I have a big house on my ranch, Jack said. It has an extra bedroom that could be your room. You could live with me for a while, and you could still visit your grandparents whenever you wanted. Emma stared at Jack like she could not believe what he was saying. You want me to live with you? She asked. Only if you want to, Jack said. I know I am almost a stranger to you. But I live alone on my ranch, and it gets very lonely. I think we could help each other. How could I help you? Emma asked. Jack thought about this question. How could he explain to a child that her presence might help heal his own broken heart? Well, I do not cook very good food, Jack said. Maybe you could help me learn to cook better. And I have never taken care of children before, so you could teach me how to do that. Emma almost smiled for the first time since Jack had met her. I do not know how to cook either. Mommy did all the cooking. Then we could learn together, Jack said. We could make mistakes and burn things and laugh about it. What about school? Emma asked. I am supposed to start 2nd grade next month. There is a school not far from my ranch, Jack said. I could drive you to school every day and pick you up. Emma was quiet for a long time, thinking about what Jack had said. Jack waited patiently for her to decide. Would I have my own room? Emma asked. Yes, you would have your own room. You could decorate it however you wanted. Could I bring my stuffed animals? Of course. You could bring anything that is important to you. What about the cow you bought? From Grandpa Tom? Could I see her? Jack smiled. Yes, you could see her every day. You could even help me take care of her if you wanted to. Emma thought some more. Then she asked the question that Jack had been waiting for. Do you think my mommy would want me to live with you? Jack thought carefully about how to answer this question. I think your mommy would want you to be safe and happy, Jack said. If living with me would make you feel safe and happy, then yes, I think she would want that. I think I would like to try it, Emma said quietly. But what if I do not like it? What if I want to come back to Grandpa Tom and Grandma Helen? Then you could come back anytime you wanted, Jack promised. This would just be to try it out. If it does not work, we could find something else. Emma nodded. Okay, I think I would like to try living with you. Jack felt a mix of excitement and terror. He had just agreed to take care of a 7-year-old girl who had just lost her mother. He had no idea how to be a parent or guardian, but he knew he wanted to try. Should we go tell your grandparents? Jack asked. Yes, Emma said, but first, can I ask you something? Of course. What should I call you? Mr. Morrison seems too long. Jack smiled. You can call me Jack. That is what my friends call me. Okay, Jack, Emma said. Are we friends now? Yes, Emma, we are friends. For the first time since Jack had met her, Emma smiled a real smile. It was small and sad, but it was real. And in that moment, Jack knew that he would do everything he could to protect this little girl and help her heal from her terrible loss. They went back into the house to talk to Tom and Helen about their plan. Jack knew it would not be easy to convince them, and it would not be easy to convince the social worker. But he also knew that Emma needed someone who could give her the time and attention she deserved. And maybe, just maybe, taking care of Emma would help Jack heal from his own loneliness and grief. When Jack and Emma went back into the house, Tom and Helen were sitting at the kitchen table drinking coffee. They looked up when Jack and Emma came inside. Jack could see the question in their eyes. Well? Helen asked. What did you two decide? Emma looked at Jack, then at her grandparents. I would like to try living with Jack, she said in a small voice. Tom and Helen looked at each other. Jack could see they had mixed feelings about this idea. Are you sure, Emma? Helen asked. Jack lives far from town. You would not see us as much. Jack said I could visit you whenever I wanted, Emma said. And you could visit me too. Tom leaned back in his chair and looked at Jack. This is a big decision, Jack. Are you really sure you want to do this? Jack thought about the question. Was he sure? No, he was not sure at all. He was scared and nervous. But he was also determined to help Emma. I'm sure I want to try, Jack said. I cannot promise I will be perfect, but I can promise I will do my best to take care of Emma. Helen started to cry again. It is not that we do not want to keep Emma, she said. We love her so much, but we are so tired and sad. And we are worried. We cannot give her what she needs. Jack sat down at the table with them. I understand. This has been the hardest time of your lives. No one expects you to make big decisions right now. What about the legal part? Tom asked. The social worker said Emma needs to be in an approved home. Maybe we could work with the social worker, Jack said. Emma could stay with me temporarily while you keep legal custody. That way, if it does not work out, Emma could come back to you right away. Tom nodded slowly. That might work. The social worker is coming back tomorrow to check on Emma. We could talk to her about it. What is a social worker? Emma asked. Helen reached over and took Emma's hand. A social worker is a person whose job is to make sure children are safe and happy. She wants to make sure you have a good place to live. Will she let me live with Jack? Emma asked. I do not know, Tom said honestly. She will have to visit Jack's house and ask him a lot of questions. She will want to make sure it is safe for you. Jack felt nervous about meeting with a social worker. He had never been through anything like this before, but he was willing to do whatever it took to help Emma. When could this happen? Jack asked. When could Emma come stay with me? Let us talk to the social worker first, Helen said. If she agrees to let Emma stay with you temporarily, maybe Emma could come next week. Emma looked excited for the first time since Jack had met her. Really? Next week? Maybe, Tom said. But first, Jack needs to get his house ready for a little girl, and we need to pack your things. Jack thought about his house. It was clean but not very comfortable. He had not bought new furniture or decorations since Sarah died. Emma would need a lot of things that Jack did not have. I will need to buy some things, Jack said, like furniture for Emma's room, and probably different food than what I usually eat. I can help you make a list, Helen said. Little girls need different things than grown men. Emma looked at Jack with worry. Will it cost a lot of money? I do not want to be expensive. Jack's heart broke a little bit. This 7-year-old was worried about being a financial burden. Do not worry about money, Emma, Jack said. I have enough money to take care of you. And taking care of you will not be expensive. It will be an investment in happiness. Emma did not understand what investment meant, but she could tell Jack was not worried about money. The social worker came to visit the next day, just like Tom had said. Her name was Mrs. Patterson, and she was a kind woman about Jack's age. She talked to Emma first, asking her how she felt about living with Jack. I like Jack, Emma told Mrs. Patterson. He is nice to me, and he has cows on his ranch. He said I could help take care of them. Then Mrs. Patterson talked to Tom and Helen about why they could not take care of Emma themselves. We are both over 70, Tom explained. Helen has heart problems, and my back is very bad. We want to keep Emma, but we are afraid we cannot give her the attention and energy she needs. Mrs. Patterson nodded. I understand. Raising a child is hard work, especially after a tragedy like this. Finally, Mrs. Patterson talked to Jack. She asked him a lot of questions about his life and his house and why he wanted to help Emma. I live alone on a ranch, Jack told her. I've been lonely since my wife died 3 years ago. When I met Emma, I saw that she was lonely too. I think we could help each other. Do you have any experience taking care of children? Mrs. Patterson asked. No, Jack said honestly. But I am willing to learn, and Tom and Helen would still be Emma's legal guardians. They could help me learn what to do. Mrs. Patterson made notes on her papers. I will need to visit your house before Emma can stay with you. I need to make sure it is safe for a child. When can you come? Jack asked. How about tomorrow afternoon? Jack agreed, even though he was nervous. He spent the rest of that day and all of the next morning getting his house ready for Mrs. Patterson's visit. Jack cleaned every room in the house. He put away anything that might be dangerous for a child. He went to the store and bought food that a child might like to eat. He also bought some toys and books. Even though he was not sure what 7-year-old girls liked, when Mrs. Patterson came to visit Jack's house, she looked at every room carefully. She checked to make sure the windows had locks. She looked at the kitchen to see if sharp knives were put away safely. She tested the smoke detectors and looked at the stairs to make sure they were not slippery. This is a very nice house, Mrs. Patterson said. It is clean and safe, but it feels like a house where only a man lives. Emma will need some things to make it feel more like home for her. What kind of things? Jack asked. Well, she will need her own bedroom furniture. A bed that is the right size for her, a dresser for her clothes, maybe a desk where she can do homework. She will also need decorations that make the room feel cheerful, Jack nodded. He had already been thinking about these things. I also want to talk to you about some of the challenges you might face, Mrs. Patterson said. Emma has been through a terrible trauma. She may have nightmares or trouble sleeping. She may be sad or angry or scared, taking care of a grieving child is not easy. I understand, Jack said. I went through my own grief when my wife died. I know it is hard. Emma may also have trouble in school at first. Her grades might not be very good while she is dealing with her mother's death. You will need to be patient with her. I will be patient, Jack promised. Mrs. Patterson made more notes on her papers. Then she looked at Jack seriously. Mr. Morrison, I can see that you really want to help Emma, and I think Emma would be better off with you than in foster care with strangers. But I need you to understand that this is a trial arrangement. If Emma is not happy or if you find that you cannot handle the responsibility, Emma will need to go somewhere else. I understand, Jack said, but I'm going to do everything I can to make this work. Mrs. Patterson smiled for the first time during her visit. I believe you will. I am going to approve Emma to stay with you temporarily. She can move in this weekend if you are ready. Jack felt excited and terrified at the same time. In just a few days, his quiet, lonely house was going to have a child living in it. His whole life was about to change. After Mrs. Patterson left, Jack drove to town to buy furniture for Emma's room. He chose a white bed with pink flowers on it. He bought a matching dresser and a small desk where Emma could do her homework. He also bought pink curtains and a lamp with butterflies on it. When Jack got home with all the furniture, he spent the rest of the day setting up Emma's room. He put the bed by the window so Emma could look out at the fields and trees. He put the desk in the corner where the light was good for reading. He hung the curtains and put the butterfly lamp on the bedside table. When Jack was finished, he stood in the doorway and looked at the room. It looked like a room where a little girl could be happy, but Jack wondered if Emma would like it. He wondered if she would be happy living with him. Jack was about to find out. Tomorrow, Emma would come to live with him, and both of their lives would change forever. Saturday morning came faster than Jack expected. He woke up early, like always, but this time he felt nervous butterflies in his stomach. Today, Emma would come to live with him. Today, his quiet house would become a home for a little girl who had lost everything. Jack made coffee and ate his usual breakfast of toast and butter. But he also made pancakes, remembering that Emma had said her mother used to make pancakes with smiley faces. Jack was not very good at making smiley faces with the pancake batter, but he tried his best. At 10 o'clock, Jack drove to Tom and Helen's house to pick up Emma. When he got there, he saw several suitcases and boxes on the porch. Emma's whole life was packed into those containers. Emma came outside carrying a stuffed rabbit that was almost as big as she was. The rabbit was brown and soft-looking, with one ear that was more chewed than the other. "This is Mr. Bunny," Emma said, showing Jack her stuffed animal. "He has been with me since I was a baby. Mommy gave him to me." "Mr. Bunny is very nice," Jack said seriously. "He will have his own special place in your new room." Tom and Helen came outside to help load Emma's things into Jack's truck. Helen was crying again, but she was trying to hide it from Emma. "We packed all of Emma's clothes and toys," Helen said, "and some pictures of her mother that she wanted to keep." "Thank you," Jack said. "Emma can bring anything that is important to her." Emma hugged Tom and Helen goodbye. "I will see you soon, right?" she asked. "Of course, sweetheart," Helen said. "You can come visit us anytime you want." "And we will come visit you at Jack's house too? Promise?" Emma asked. "Promise," Tom said, bending down to hug her. Jack loaded all of Emma's things into his truck. There were more boxes than he had expected. Emma had books and toys and clothes and art supplies. She also had a small rocking chair that had been her mother's when she was a child. "Are you ready?" Jack asked Emma. Emma looked back at her grandparents' house, then at Jack. "I think so," she said quietly. The drive to Jack's ranch took 20 minutes. Emma sat quietly in the passenger seat, holding Mr. Bunny and looking out the window. Jack could tell she was nervous about her new home. "Are you scared?" Jack asked gently. "A little bit," Emma admitted. "What if I do not like it? What if you do not like me?" Jack pulled the truck over to the side of the road and stopped. He turned to look at Emma. "Emma, I want you to know something very important," Jack said. "I already like you very much. And if you do not like living with me, that is okay too. We will figure out something else, but I hope you will give it a chance." Emma nodded. "I will try." When they got to Jack's ranch, Emma looked around with big eyes. She had never lived anywhere with so much land and so many animals. "Wow," she said, "it is really big." "Do you want to see your room first, or do you want to meet the cows?" Jack asked. "Can I see my room?" Emma asked. Jack carried Emma's suitcases into the house while Emma carried Mr. Bunny. He led her upstairs to the room he had prepared for her. When Emma saw her new room, her eyes got very wide. "Is this really my room?" she asked. "Yes, it is all yours," Jack said. "Do you like it?" Emma walked around the room, touching the pink curtains and the butterfly lamp. She sat on the bed and bounced a little bit. "It is very pretty," she said. "But it does not feel like mine yet." "That is okay," Jack said. "Once you put your things in it, it will start to feel like yours." Jack helped Emma unpack her clothes and put them in the dresser. They put her books on the small bookshelf Jack had bought. They hung up some pictures of Emma and her mother on the walls. Emma's favorite picture was one of her and her mother at a park. They were both smiling and eating ice cream. Emma stared at the picture for a long time. "I miss her so much," Emma said quietly. "I know you do," Jack said. "It is okay to miss her. You will always miss her, and that is okay." "Do you miss your wife?" Emma asked. Double quotes. "Yes, I miss Sarah every day. But talking about her and remembering the good times we had together helps me feel better." "Will you tell me about Sarah sometime?" Emma asked. "Yes, and you can tell me about your mother too if you want to." After they finished unpacking, Jack showed Emma the rest of the house. He showed her the kitchen where she could get snacks, the living room where they could watch television, and the bathroom that would be hers to use. "Are you hungry?" Jack asked. "I made pancakes this morning, but I could make something else." "I would like to try your pancakes," Emma said. Jack heated up the pancakes he had made earlier. They did not look as good as the ones Emma's mother used to make, but Emma ate them anyway. "They are good," Emma said politely, even though Jack could tell they were not very good. "We will have to practice making better pancakes together," Jack said. After lunch, Jack took Emma outside to see the animals. Emma was excited to see the cow that Jack had bought from her grandfather. "That is Bessie," Jack said, pointing to the black and white cow. "She is the cow I bought from your grandfather. She is very gentle." Emma climbed up on the fence to get a better look at Bessie. "Can I pet her?" "Yes, but let me help you. Cows are big and you have to be careful around them." Jack helped Emma climb into the pasture. Bessie came over to them slowly. Emma reached out her small hand and touched Bessie's nose. "She is so soft," Emma said with wonder. "Would you like to help me feed her?" Jack asked. "Yes." Jack got some grain from the barn and showed Emma how to hold her hand flat so Bessie could eat from it. Emma giggled when Bessie's tongue tickled her palm. They also fed the chickens and looked at the other cows. Emma asked a lot of questions about the animals and how to take care of them. Jack could see that she was starting to feel more comfortable. That evening, Jack made dinner for both of them. He cooked hamburgers and French fries, which Emma seemed to like. After dinner, they sat on the porch and watched the sun go down. "It is very quiet here," Emma said. Double quotes. "Yes, it is quieter than town." "Do you like it quiet, or is it too quiet?" Emma thought about this. "I think I like it." At Grandpa Tom's house, there were always cars driving by and neighbors making noise. Here I can hear the cows and the birds. "That is one of my favorite things about living here," Jack said. When it was time for bed, Jack was not sure what to do. He had never put a child to bed before. "What do you usually do before bed?" Jack asked Emma. "Mommy used to read me a story and sing me a song," Emma said sadly. "I am not a very good singer," Jack said, "but I could try to read you a story." Emma picked out a book from her collection. It was about a little girl who lived on a farm with her grandfather. Jack read the story slowly, trying to do different voices for the different characters. Emma smiled a few times during the story. When Jack finished reading, Emma looked sad again. "I wish Mommy was here to sing to me," she said. "I wish she was here too," Jack said. "But maybe we could try something different. Maybe you could tell me about one of your favorite memories with your mother." Emma thought for a moment. "Last Christmas, Mommy and I made cookies together. We made sugar cookies shaped like stars and trees. Mommy let me put the sprinkles on them. We ate so many cookies that we both got stomach aches." Emma smiled a little bit while telling this story. "That sounds like a wonderful memory," Jack said. "Maybe we could make Christmas cookies together this year?" "Really? Even though you are not my real dad?" Jack's heart hurt when Emma said this. "Emma, I may not be your real dad, but I care about you very much. And people who care about each other do special things together, like making cookies." Emma hugged Mr. Bunny tight. "I think I would like that." Jack tucked Emma into her new bed and turned on the butterfly lamp. "If you need anything during the night, my room is right down the hall. Do not be afraid to wake me up if you need me." "Okay," Emma said sleepily. "Good night, Jack." "Good night, Emma. Sweet dreams." Jack went to his own room, but he did not go to sleep right away. He lay in bed listening for sounds from Emma's room. He heard her moving around for a while, probably getting used to the new bed and the new sounds of the ranch. Around midnight, Jack heard Emma crying. He got up and went to her room. Emma was sitting up in bed, holding Mr. Bunny and crying quietly. "What is wrong, Emma?" Jack asked softly. "I had a bad dream about the car accident," Emma said through her tears. "In the dream, I was in the car with Mommy when the bad man hit us." Jack sat on the edge of Emma's bed. "That must have been very scary. But it was just a dream. You are safe here with me." "I keep thinking about Mommy being hurt and scared," Emma said. "I wish I could have helped her." "Emma, there was nothing you could have done to help your mother. The accident was not your fault, and it was not your mother's fault either. Sometimes terrible things just happen." Emma cried for a while longer. Jack stayed with her and rubbed her back gently until she fell back asleep. As Jack went back to his own room, he realized that taking care of Emma was going to be much harder than he had thought. But he also realized that he already cared about her more than he had expected. Seeing her smile when she petted Bessie had made Jack happier than he had been in 3 years. This was just the beginning of their life together, and Jack knew there would be many more difficult nights and challenging days ahead. But he also knew that he and Emma were both less lonely now than they had been before. And maybe, just maybe, they could help each other heal from their losses and build a new kind of family together. 6 months had passed since Emma came to live with Jack on the ranch. The house that had once been quiet and lonely was now filled with the sounds of a child's laughter, questions, and sometimes tears. Jack's life had changed completely, and he could not imagine going back to the way things were before. Emma's room no longer looked like a guest room. It was truly her space now, filled with her drawings taped to the walls, books scattered on the floor, and clothes that never quite made it back into the dresser. Mr. Bunny sat on her pillow every morning when she made her bed, which she did without being asked most days. Jack had learned so many things about taking care of a child. He learned that Emma liked peanut butter and jelly sandwiches cut into triangles, not squares. He learned that she was afraid of thunderstorms but loved the rain when the sun was shining. He learned that she could ask more questions in 1 hour than most adults asked in a whole day. Most importantly, Jack learned that Emma was much stronger and braver than she looked. She had started 2nd grade at the local elementary school in September, just 3 weeks after her mother died. Jack had been worried that she would have trouble with school while she was grieving. But Emma surprised him. Her teacher, Mrs. Williams, was a kind woman who understood that Emma was going through a difficult time. She made sure the other children were friendly to Emma and helped her catch up on anything she had missed while dealing with her mother's death. Emma made friends quickly. Her best friend was a girl named Sophie who lived on a farm down the road. Sophie had taught Emma how to braid friendship bracelets and how to catch fireflies in mason jars. Emma taught Sophie how to feed chickens without being scared and how to brush a cow's fur. Jack had worried that Emma would have trouble sleeping and eating, but after the first few weeks, she settled into a routine. She still had nightmares sometimes, especially when it stormed or when something reminded her of her mother. But the nightmares came less often now, and Emma was getting better at talking about her feelings instead of keeping them inside. Jack had also learned to cook better food. Emma had been patient with his early attempts at making dinner, but she had also been honest when something tasted terrible. They cooked together now, and Emma was actually better at following recipes than Jack was. She could read the instructions carefully and measure ingredients without spilling them. Everywhere. Their favorite thing to cook together was pancakes on Saturday mornings. Jack had finally learned how to make smiley faces with the batter, and Emma had taught him to make heart shapes and star shapes too. They ate their pancakes on the porch when the weather was nice. Listening to the birds and watching the cows in the pasture, Emma had become very good at helping with the farm work. She could collect eggs from the chickens without breaking them. She could fill the water troughs and help carry feed to the animals. Bessie, the cow Jack had bought from Tom Henderson, had become Emma's special favorite. Emma brushed Bessie's fur every day and talked to her about school and friends and anything else that was on her mind. "Bessie is a very good listener, Emma," told Jack one day. She never interrupts me or tells me I'm talking too much, Jack smiled. Animals are good that way. They listen without judging. Emma had also started helping Jack with other ranch work. She could hammer nails into boards if Jack held the boards steady. She could paint fence posts, although she usually got more paint on herself than on the fence. She could weed the vegetable garden they had planted together in the spring. Jack had never had a vegetable garden before, but Emma had wanted to grow tomatoes and carrots like she had done with her mother. Jack bought seeds and gardening tools, and they learned together how to plant and water and take care of the plants. When the first tomatoes turned red in July, Emma was so excited that she called Tom and Helen to tell them about it. Emma visited her grandparents every Sunday after church. Jack drove her there after lunch and picked her up before dinner. Tom and Helen were doing better now. Tom's back still hurt, and Helen still had heart problems, but they were not as sad as they had been right after Lisa died. Emma looks happy, Helen told Jack one Sunday when he came to pick Emma up. She talks about you and the ranch all the time. I think living with you has been good for her. It has been good for me too, Jack said honestly. I was very lonely before Emma came to live with me, Tom nodded. You have done a good job with her, Jack. Lisa would be grateful that Emma has someone who cares about her so much. Jack had been thinking about making the arrangement with Emma permanent. Mrs. Patterson, the social worker, came to visit once a month to check on how things were going. She always said that Emma seemed happy and healthy and that Jack was doing a good job taking care of her. Have you thought about adopting Emma officially? Mrs. Patterson asked Jack during her last visit. Tom and Helen have talked to me about it. They think it would be good for Emma to have a permanent home with you. Jack had been thinking about adoption for months, but he had been afraid to bring it up. He did not want Emma to feel pressured to stay with him if she did not want to. I would like to adopt Emma, Jack told Mrs. Patterson. But I want to make sure it is what Emma wants too. Why do not you ask her? Mrs. Patterson suggested. That evening, Jack and Emma were sitting on the porch after dinner, watching the sunset. Emma was brushing Mr. Bunny's fur with a small brush she had gotten for her birthday. Emma, Jack said carefully, can I ask you something important? Sure, Emma said, not looking up from Mr. Bunny. How do you feel about living here with me? Do you like it? Emma stopped brushing and looked at Jack. I like it very much. Why? Do you want me to go away? No, Jack said quickly. I do not want you to go away at all. I was actually wondering if you would like to stay here forever. Emma's eyes got wide. Forever? Like you would be my real dad? Well, I would adopt you legally. That means I would be your dad in the eyes of the law. You would still remember your real mother and father, but I would take care of you and love you like a parent. Emma was quiet for a long time thinking about this. Jack waited patiently, his heart beating fast. Would I still be able to visit Grandpa Tom and Grandma Helen? Emma asked. Of course. They would still be your grandparents. And would I still keep my same name? You could keep your same first name? Your last name would change to Morrison, like mine. But only if you want it too, Emma thought some more. If you adopt me, does that mean you will never leave me? Jack's heart hurt when Emma asked this question. He realized that Emma was still afraid of being abandoned, like her father had abandoned her and like death had taken her mother away. Emma, I promise that I will never leave you by choice. I will take care of you until you are grown up and ready to take care of yourself. And even then, I will always be here if you need me. Even when I am old like you? Emma asked. Jack laughed. Even when you are old like me? Emma smiled and hugged Mr. Bunny tight. I think I would like you to adopt me. But can I still talk to Mommy in heaven and tell her about it? Of course you can. I think your mother would be very happy to know that you have someone who loves you and will take care of you. Do you love me, Jack? Emma asked quietly. Jack felt tears in his eyes. Yes, Emma, I love you very much. I love you too, Emma said. You are the best friend I ever had. The adoption process took 3 months to complete. There were papers to sign and court hearings to attend. Emma had to talk to a judge and tell him that she wanted Jack to be her father. She wore her best. dressed to court and answered all the judge's questions in a clear, strong voice. "Yes, Your Honor," Emma told the judge. "I want Jack to adopt me. He takes good care of me and loves me." When the judge signed the final papers, Emma became Emma Morrison officially. Jack cried happy tears, and Emma hugged him tight. "Now we are a real family," Emma said. "We were already a real family," Jack said. "Now we just have the papers to prove it." That night, they celebrated with a special dinner. Jack had learned to cook Emma's favorite meal, spaghetti with meatballs and garlic bread. Emma had made a cake from a box mix, and it was a little lopsided but tasted perfect. After dinner, they sat on the porch and looked at the stars. Emma pointed out the constellations she had learned about in school. "Jack," Emma said, "do you think Mommy can see us from heaven?" "I think she can," Jack said. "And I think she is very proud of how brave and strong you have been." "I think she likes you," Emma said. "Sometimes when I talk to her in my prayers, I feel like she is telling me that she is glad you are taking care of me," Jack smiled. "I hope so. I want to do right by both you and your mother." Emma yawned and leaned against Jack's shoulder. "I am sleepy. Will you read me a story tonight?" "Of course. What book do you want?" "The one about the little girl and her horse." "That is my favorite." As they went inside, Jack thought about how much his life had changed. A year ago, he had been a lonely man living alone on a struggling ranch. Now he was a father to a wonderful little girl, and his ranch was doing better than it had in years. The extra income from Bessie's milk had helped Jack pay his bills and even save some money. But more importantly, having Emma in his life had given Jack a reason to work hard and plan for the future. He was fixing up the house and the barn, not just for himself now, but for Emma too. Emma had also brought other people into Jack's life.